The power of Trump is very real, regardless of what the ruling class in this country wants to do. The tide is now shifting. It is shifting majorly, and you are a part of that shift. Stay tuned.
I think it comes down to a basic question. What is America? And my kind of economic role model is Peter Drucker. I think an economy in America exists to create a robust middle class. The most ascending countries over the last 20 years have been China and India, and it's a one basic litmus test. How many people are you bringing into the middle class? The greatest innovation in history is not the iPhone or the semiconductor, it's the American middle class. But these individuals have weaponized government, and we risk revolution, whether it's CEOs being murdered in the street, whether it's a Me Too movement that had righteous components of it, or Black Lives Matter. What are these movements? They are targeting the wealthy. We are in the midst of a series of small revolutions to correct income inequality. And the reason we put an insurrectionist and a rapist in office is because for the first time in our nation's history, a 30-year-old man or woman isn't doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. Why? Because the majority of households are having the oxygen sucked out of the room, such that a small number of individuals and a small number of companies can be worth more than nation states. Income inequality is out of control. Our tax policy has gone full oligarch.
I'll get on stage, debate anybody in this. The only president in the history of the country worse than Bush 43 is James Buchanan. You got Buchanan, you got Bush. And then I think you have a free fall and you get down to some other bad guys, incompetent guys. Don't mean to speak poorly of the dead, particularly on the day he was buried. Isn't it ironic, too, that it's the 112th birthday of Richard Nixon on the same day that Jimmy Carter's buried? I mean, that whole thing. Carter was an overreaction to Richard Nixon being turfed out, taken out by the apparatus, the legal apparatus. That's real lawfare. Ask Monica Crowley. Ask the guy Shepard that wrote those amazing books. That is basic. Hey, it's not Woodward and Bernstein.
Howdy folks, Dave Mann here again, Rollman Revolution. Now what you just saw in the pre-opening there, which was ripped from War Room, my favorite show, my favorite information-intensive program available out there, War Room. If you haven't seen it yet, go to War Room with Steve Bannon and watch it. It's on Rumble. It's available on so many different platforms. Go watch it. It will save you the aggravation. I call War Room the Cliff Notes of news media. It basically takes all of the bullshit and concentrates it down into the things you really need to pay attention to. But that cold opening, or those two clips you just saw in the beginning there, lays the foundation for what it is I want to talk about this time. I have had it up to here with our betters, as they like to call them, trying to tell me how to live my life and how this world is supposed to run. Now, over the course of the past 40, 50 years in this country, in my opinion, we have had the illusion of choice when it comes to picking candidates to represent us. And that goes across the board at your local level, state level, and of course at the federal level. Now, if we want to go back to John F. Kennedy and every point after that, you will start to see that everything in the international rules-based order, this globalist system that has been infiltrated into our way of life. You can watch, after John F. Kennedy, they told, I swear to you, you can see it in the patterns for the decisions these people make. They swore never again will they put a dark horse in there or put a wild card into the office, because they can't afford to have their system, their organized criminal system that they have in D.C., they can't have it messed up. So, what do? They pretend to give you candidates over the course of these several decades that you think is going to change anything. Now, you just saw in that clip in the open, Donald J. Trump is sitting there on the end at Jimmy Carter's funeral, which was a monstrosity on its own, and I'm not going to even get into that, but Donald Trump's sitting there with his wife, and his wife, Melania, she has got to be a saint, And the reason why is because when you're not used to hanging around people like that, meaning the people that are just scum, okay? Flat out, high, nose up in the air, high in the sky. I think I'm better than you. The bourgeoisie, a good time is coming to me ever so far away attitude. These people think that they're so much better than you and I. And when you see Donald Trump and Melania sit in the room, they appear to me as just regular people. Like Donald Trump, if I saw him in public, he's one of those people that you could sit down and have a conversation with and it would be normal. Whereas these other people, it's all fake. It's all elbow rubbing and, they talk in platitudes of bullshit to each other. And it shocks me because they're all on the same team. And you can see that they're all on the same team. See, you would think that George W. Bush and Barack Obama would hate each other. You would think that just based upon the way that they have aligned themselves and how they talk about the world and the policies and all that other stuff. You would think that they're against each other, but they're not. They are literally in each other's pocket. Barack Obama and George W. Bush have a good relationship. And you have to ask yourself, well, why? Well, the reason why is because they both work for the apparatus that is designed to destroy this country. The international rules-based order or the globalist, right? George W. Bush being the worst president in my lifetime and probably will go down in history as one of the worst presidents in American history. Sits up there and just does the old to Barack Obama. Hey, buddy, yeah, we'll see you a little later at the shindig, okay? Yeah, don't forget to bring Big Mike, okay? George Bush just sits there, and even his wife, who I had a little bit more respect for, you can see they just beelined right for the pew. Saw Trump on the end, he just went right past Obama. What a bunch of pompous little shits. When you see stuff like that, they lost. They lost, and they know they lost, and they don't know what to do about it. Okay, they think that they're going to try to regroup and find different ways, and they are trying right now. As you can see what's happening, and this is the stuff that kind of just blows my mind and drives me over the edge, my friends. In the news right now, you can see that Jack Smith, the guy that tried to indict Trump on all of these other type of charges, is trying to get a conviction before Trump is inaugurated. They're pushing this stuff so hardcore because they want to put another label onto Donald Trump. I don't understand how anybody at this point doesn't get it. The amount of hell that man has had to endure in just a small period of time would destroy most people in even a shorter period. Most people couldn't last days dealing with the nonsense that Donald Trump is dealing with. And he has to deal that as an ingoing president. This stuff continues on. And if you think it's going to stop, it will not. These credentialed classed morons that I like to call them, they're really morons, but they think they're smart because they live in this little bubble, this world that they have created and have forced you and I to pay for. That's the weird part about it is we have been paying for this rules-based system that is designed to screw you and me over. And Donald Trump comes in 2016. And remember what I said, the CIA and the powers that be, after John F. Kennedy, I'm sure sat down and made a pact that they would never allow this to happen again. Because again, once you get an honest person into that apparatus in Washington, D.C., they start to look around and go, what the hell is all this? They see the dead bodies just laying everywhere. And when you walk into an environment like that, especially when you're not used to it, you go, oh my God, what's that all about? And everybody's walking around as if there's nothing there. That's how Washington, D.C. operates. They operate in this mindset that what they are doing is the right thing no matter what. I mean, look at Gavin Newsom in California. The state's burning down, and their answer for everything is, we just ran out of water. I'm sorry. Ship, screw us. We made a mistake, everybody. Oh, shame on me. We forgot the water. Now the place is burning down. Shucks, I'm so sorry, everybody. Your house is burning down. We ran out of water. My bad, everybody. That's the attitude these people have. Everything is falling apart, and they just keep walking down the hall as if business as usual. So when you got a guy like Trump, who has gone to the mattresses for the American people, and then I watch this credential class, former presidents of the United States, give Donald Trump the middle finger, when that man has gone over the top to try to make this world a better place? Nah. George W. Bush, you're a scumbucket. A scumbucket. Barack Obama, we already know what you are. And then Bill Clinton, well, you're just along for the ride like the rest of them. We know who really is in charge of that relationship. But when you sit there and you look at the former presidents of the United States and then you compare it to Donald J. Trump, in my opinion, there is no comparison. Let me ask you, what did Bill Clinton do for you? What did George W. Bush do for you? What did Barack Obama do for you? All they did was make the country more difficult. You got Bill Clinton with NAFTA. That was a big screw up of his presidency. George W. Bush, we can't even go into that. The whole 9/11 all the way up through the attacks in New York and everything. You can't say certain things on YouTube. That's how crazy the world has gotten. You cannot reference certain things in a way without trying to be censored. And that we are living in a world now where the only options we have is to put people that are going to actually support us in office. And when I see guys like Donald Trump sit there and get shunned by the people who came before him, Barack Obama, George W. Bush, Clinton, all of them, it really pisses me off. Because what you just gave the middle finger to, the person you just slapped in the face in front of everybody, thinking that you're the better person in the room. You just pissed on greatness, and you don't even know it. I want to remind George W. Bush, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, and all of the other presidents, leaders, and those who swore an oath to protect this country. If you have skeletons in your closet, we are going to find them. Because I am done. I am done with this attitude. I am done with your... Steve Bannon, I think, has got the best quote of all time. It's the final scream of a dying regime. And you can see it happening in real time every single day. These people, guys like Scott Galloway, that New York, I guess NYU marketing professor or whatever, Trump is a rapist and an insurrectionist, and that's the reason why we voted an insurrectionist and a rapist into. These people just love to slap labels onto other people because they know they've lost the argument. You've always heard that story. Remember when you were a kid, that when you resort to name calling, that you were the one that probably lost the argument? Just look at them. Look at your betters. Look at the people that say that we know better than you, America. We know better than you, working class. You guys think that you are better. We're going to take your Social Security. We're going to take your Medicare. We're going to take it all. They want everything from you, and they want more. So you got a guy like Donald Trump that comes in and tries to reverse that whole effect in 2016, almost immediately out the gate within the first 100 days. With, the Trans-Pacific Partnership, all of the stuff going on in the Middle East. You saw all of these things unwind in a very short period of time. And what did they do? What did they do? They tried to impeach him. Twice. Then they went to the mattresses to steal an election in 2020, which they did successfully, using the bioweapon in the mailing system to justify all of these ballots. Look, I said it before, if Joe Biden really won by the levels that he did, then where were those people when Kamala Harris was running? Where did they all go? They didn't just disappear, did they? Oh, but that's it. They did disappear. They never really existed. When you start to really put everything away, just turn the music off, turn the news off, let's just you and I have a conversation for a minute. When we do that, when we as Americans just have conversations with each other, and I ask you, what's going on in your life? What's your problem? What's going on? We start to realize that the problems that most of us are dealing with are the same. Most of the time it's something in the family. It's usually a lot of it has to do with financials, a good job, trying to get some kind of stability in your life. When you don't have that, everything is all over the place. So when you got a guy like Donald Trump who wants to come back in to try to bring things back to homeostasis, bring things back to just a bit of normalcy, look what they do. Look what the established rules-based order in this world and in this country does. They try to mock, ridicule, and badmouth the only person doing anything about it. And it bothers me. You think Americans, mainstream, deep state, whoever, you think that we're not paying attention. You think that we are not going to be good enough to stop you. I want to tell you, this time, you will not be successful. You may win a few battles, but you are not going to win the war. There is too much invested at this point. I have lost everything, and majority of the people that I know have lost most of what they have worked so hard for. And you want to sit there and give Donald Trump the middle finger, try to make him out to look like something that he's not, when he's been the only person in my lifetime who has gone over the top to try to put this country and this nation and the citizens of this nation before anybody else. The fact that our own government and our own people within government are trying to destroy that or attack that should concern you greatly. Because if they are attacking the one man that is trying to put the country for who he represents first, those are traitors. I don't care how you slice it. Any human being in this planet that is going against another person who is running for office, who is trying to better the country for which they represent, if you have somebody in opposition to that, they're traitors to the nation that they're attacking. And yet we do nothing about this. The final scream in the dying regime is what you see happening in real time right now, because these people don't know what to do. They are so used to the rules being set a certain way and everything goes on autopilot, because most of the time in Washington, status quo is the order of the day. But you can see now, the people have had enough. This last election told the tale in a much larger way. It said, no, I don't care how many names you slap on this guy. I don't care how many times you try to make Donald Trump look one way or the other. The proof is in the pudding. Look at the summer of 2019. Look at your checkbook. Look at the way just life was. It took some time when Trump got into office in 2016 before you could start seeing his policies start to have impact. But once they started to have impact, and once they started to benefit you, guess what happened? The bioweapon. Oh, shucks darn shucks. Which forced the hand of Trump to have to spend trillions of dollars to fix what they started in the first place. Now think about this. Imagine if you had a team or a group of people that are like Trump working on the same team. Imagine how much better this place would be. Imagine how much better our world would be if we started putting people into these positions who not only know what they're doing, but care about the mission for why they're doing it. Too much pretend has been going on. Like I've said in many videos before this, they make this in Washington, D.C. seem so difficult, so complicated. Oh, you guys do not understand out there. The work and the business of government is very difficult work, everybody. It's very difficult work. You got the Scott Galloways of the world, you know, with the intense look, studying these things, making the assessments to you so that these people suck. The The people that supposedly had your back for all those years was the CIA's illusion, the smokescreen they threw in front of you. We're going to give you this candidate and this candidate. Why? Because we got both of those candidates in our back pocket. Like I said at the top of this video, Trump's power is no doubt recognizable. These people are so afraid of what could happen on January 20th and the days following. They are doing everything in their power right now to set the stage up so that Trump starts to trip right out the gate. They're doing it right now. Jack Smith, these people are going over the top to try to cripple him in any way they can. Take any leverage he possibly could get away from him. Now, who does that? Especially when it affects the American people. It's one thing to go after, I dislike that person and I'm going to beat them in the argument. It's one thing to go after somebody on the arguments and say you're going to, but to destroy an entire nation because you don't like the person who has been elected, just, you got to stop looking at it like that. It's not that. Trump is you. When you start to think about these things in terms of Trump is the first person who's actually representing you. Is he perfect? No! He's a human being. And the person that he was back in the 90s is not the person that he is today. And same thing goes for you. That's why I said so many people get this idea in their mind, oh, Trump, he did this and he done that and he did. Do you know how many bad things I've done in my life? Do you know how many things that I've done throughout my life that I would go, Jesus, I really wish I would have made a better decision? Like, we've all done it. But that's what life is all about. It's about this constant changing, this constantly polishing of ourselves to make each day better. It's a constant growing process. The person Trump was in the 90s is not the person Trump is today. And you can see that in the way he talks, the way he moves, and the actions that he puts into place. The final scream of the dying regime, you can hear it every single day now. It's slowly going. You did that. And it will continue to stop if we continue to make it stop. President Trump deserves not only the respect of every American, in my opinion, because he is the only person in modern time that has put this nation first. Take it from me, a person who has been living politics for 20-something years, studying these bad actors for so many damn years. Trump's different. And coming from a person like me, who is completely checked out of the political system, Trump is different. Is he the best? Well, based upon the scales that we have to judge on, you're damn right he is. Is he effective? You're damn right he is. Just look at the way the international world receives Trump when he walks into a room. Just look at the way the media stands back. The other day after, I can't remember what it was, Trump started answering questions. The media is not used to a president for the past 4 years being able to make a speech and then be able to answer questions after that. It blows my mind that for 4 years, we didn't have a president. We have no idea who our president was. Because an election which was stolen by these betters, the people that like to snub Trump, the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons, this international rules-based group of bullshit artists. They think they're better. And for the longest time, they had a long run screwing the American people over for decades and decades and decades and decades, bailing out banks, wars, endless wars, money, thrown. All you paid for. Every bit of it, you paid for. And the only person that's trying to give you a little bit of relief is the person these people are trying to character assassinate or give the middle finger to. You want to keep doing that? The American people are truly listening now. The American people are getting more engaged by the day. And there are many, when I say many, small groups of activists just waiting for that phone call, waiting for the go signal to tear down the people who make any attempt to try to destroy our country. I'm not afraid of anything anymore. I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of anything. This world has been set up now in a way that has forced me not to fear anything. And thank goodness it did, because without all of the crap that had gone down over these past 4 years, I don't think this country would be where it is right now. As much as I would love to erase the last 4 years, I say this with a lump in my throat, that a lot of this stuff had to happen. A lot of this stuff had to happen because sometimes you need a kick in the dick or a slap in the face or a punch in the mouth to realize, whoa, not only do we have to do better, we got to be sharper on everything. So that's what we did. So the past 4 years, while your betters were stealing a nation, trying to destroy it, causing wars, spending the entire treasure of our country, President Trump realized that he won the election in 2020. They stole it, and that this country has no chance in hell if he doesn't do anything about it. Now, I don't know about you, but a rich billionaire who has no reason, no interest whatsoever to run for this shit. I mean, just look at it. These people have destroyed our country, turned it upside down. This is supposed to be the best place in the world. They told us that when I was growing up. America's the greatest place in the world, blah, 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 blah. Based upon the standards today, it's not. And it's not because the American people haven't made it great, because we're doing everything we can, showing up, doing our part, but the people that supposedly represent you don't give a shit. Don't give a shit about you, and are doing everything in their power to set the game up so that you continue to trip over yourself and they can steal all the cash in the process. That's their whole game. So now when Trump got reelected in 2024, the smugness has gone up. The regime now is starting to really worry, because in 2016, that was his first time on the political scene. He didn't have all of the tools for his toolbox to recognize what he was walking into. The smoke screens and the IEDs that were laid out in front of him. But now he knows. And now they know he knows. So now they know they have to go over the top even worse to try to destroy him. But it isn't going to happen this time. I want you, and I don't ask my audience, or I don't ask people in general to do very much of anything. I ask you to listen, and I ask you to do what you can to try to inform yourself so that you can understand really what's going on here. But I ask you to do just one thing. And that is, over the course of this next 100 days after Trump goes into office, I want you to pay attention to the people who are trying to block, obstruct, or make difficult the policies that Trump tries to put into play. Because when you start to realize or start to recognize the names of those individuals who are trying to muck up the process so that the American people continue to suffer, those are the tyrants that we need to pull out, put them right in front of the American people, and the American people will judge their fate. Transparency is going to be the one thing that leads us into the future that we want, by laying all of their dirty laundry out for all of us to see, both Republicans and Democrats alike, because those parties do not exist for the way they were. If you start to think, oh, Republican, Forget that. It's nationalist, populist, MAGA versus everything else. So if you're not a nationalist, populist, America First person, sayonara, got nothing for you. This is the era of Trump. I know you in the mainstream, the deep state, and those who have been living in this bubble called Washington, D.C. for so long are in fear, and you should be. Because if you have been playing criminal games for decades, and now your chips are getting called. Now you're getting called for the first time. There's somebody at the poker table that's better than you. You lost. And now you're going away sore losing, crying to you. Because we put a rapist in it. That's the only reason. Because a rapist and an insurrectionist got into office. The only reason that happened is because us betters up here, we destroyed the middle class. That's what we did. But, that's the only reason why. Just want to slap those credentialed morons in the mouth. A punch in the mouth is what these people need. Just a good old punch. Figuratively, of course. Figuratively. I'm not asking anybody to do violence, but you know what I mean when I say, when a person starts spouting out nonsense to you, you do the proverbial punch in the mouth. You set them straight. And if we all do it together, like when you support somebody else who's speaking truth, the person who keeps trying to push out the bullshit gets consumed. This goes away when you and I start fighting on the same team. But President Trump is the people's president. President Trump will go down in history as one of the greatest, if not the greatest president in modern time. I want people, especially young folks, to pay attention to what leadership really looks like. Because even as Trump sat there in that church at Carter's funeral, getting the middle finger from George Bush and all of the others there, it didn't bother him. He just looked up. I think it bothered Melania probably more than anything else because she knows how hard and what her husband's had to go through. The disrespect is just... Look, I have not agreed with Trump on a lot of things, and there are several things that, there are things that I think that he might not be, exactly correct about. But that's what the whole part of conversation, debate, and transparency is all about. The more you have conversations, the more we get at the problem. It's called getting at it. The one thing that Washington is famous for is never getting at the problem. They don't want to get at the problem because once they fix the problem, it goes away. But the only way they continue to keep generating money and make you think you need them in office is by setting the system up such where, look at all these problems. And I'm the smart credentialed guy that is going to fix them for you because you're too stupid and smart, too stupid and peonic. You're the little guy. You're the citizen. You don't know what's going on up here in Washington, D.C. This is where all of the thinking, learned people go. All the smartsies go up here. You down there, you stay down there in your little spot. Stay down there, peon. That's what these people think of you. For the first time, it's kind of nice to have a person, even though he's probably the most popular human being on the planet right now. One of them. It's just, it's shocking that the power Trump has does not come from the deep state or the intelligence services working to use the court system. Trump's power doesn't come from any of that, as you can see, because they've dragged his ass backwards and forwards through the court system to try to destroy that man. So where does Trump's power come from? It comes from within, but it also is yielded to him by the voice of a unified America. That's what you betters don't understand. Trump's power is bigger than you think. And if you continue to keep shitting on this man, I'm just warning you. it's not going to fare very well for you. And that's not a threat. Everybody knows that when they walk into a situation and they start to run their mouth and try to play these little games, if you have somebody in the room that is better than you, smarter than you, stronger than you, you could actually get bopped in the mouth for saying the nonsense that you say. Everybody knows, has been in a situation where they open their mouth and insert their foot. We don't have to worry about inserting your foot here. MAGA will do the part for you. You open your mouth and keep this up, and you keep talking this nonsense against the duly elected president of the United States, which this country voted for by mandate and landslide. You keep disrespecting that man, I can guarantee you, you are going to get popped in the mouth by MAGA. Morning Joe, Mika, Mr. Galloway, all you smart, learned people, you intelligent God. I mean, there's nothing better than Morning Joe. I mean, that is where the geniuses of the world go to refuel. That's where they go. They have to go to Morning Joe to refuel. Oh, make me feel good. Let me feel good. I gotta feel good about being me. Pathetic. But the one thing about Trump that I know, because I study people, body language, and behavior, the man knows he's the smartest guy in the room. The man knows how to read a room better than most people. And he doesn't show his cards ever. He stands in front of the room. He looks at you. He sizes you up. And he makes a determination in that moment. There isn't nobody better than that. Nobody better at that game than him. We should be very grateful, in my opinion. Grateful for the fact that Trump is there, because if I want you to imagine for just a moment a world multiplied times 10 with these past 4 years. Imagine no medical freedom. Inflation that's going to the points where you cannot afford anything. That's the direction we were heading. So when these people piss on President Trump and slap him in the face, they are pissing on you and slapping you in the face. They think that you're scum. They think that you don't have a say-so. They think that they are better than you. How about we show them who we are? I'm a big believer in not telling anybody. I will show you. I will show you how this works. President Trump deserves the respect of every American, because, in my opinion, he's the man who saved this republic. Saved it. These next 4 years are going to be the most challenging 4 years, but you're going to see improvements within the first 100 days. What I ask people to do is to understand how far we have fallen, so that you can understand how far we have to climb back up in order to get there. But as we're climbing back up, you and I have to call out any person who is trying to knock the person's foot off the cliff whilst they're climbing. Because if you have a person who is trying to destroy America while she is ascending, those are your tyrants and your traitors. And we have ropes for that. We have laws for that. I am done listening, watching, and having to deal with the traitors and the disrespect this country endures. I'm done with it. If you don't like this country, get the hell out. There are many countries that you can go to. Get the hell out. We'll rebuild this nation with the people who made it great in the first place, and that's you and me. We don't need them. We need people who are going to represent us. And when they don't, you represent you. I represent me, and we do it together. But President Trump deserves respect. I can guarantee you he's going to get that respect. So to those betters, to those upper, got my nose way up in the air, think I'm better than everybody, to all you folks out there, keep it up. Because MAGA's coming. We are going to level the playing field. And you're not going to like it. And I don't really care if you don't like it. Tough shit. You don't like the fact that we're going to level it, make it easy, even for everybody, so everybody's got a chance? You don't like that? Get the hell out of this country then. Go over to Russia. Go hang out with Xi Jinping in China. Go ahead. If you think that you're going to win this, you're surely mistaken. You have no idea the talent and action-driven people you have in this country. You have no idea. Which makes you stupid, which is why you're going to lose. All right, my friends, get out there and do your part. Speak your mind. But the most important thing, support the president. He has so much on his shoulders. This country has been completely mucked up in a very short period of time, and it's just, it's going to stop. And we're going to make it stop. All right, my friends, I'll talk with you soon. Take care.